Good Sunday morning. Boy, this pollen got me bad, y'all. But good Sunday morning out there to everybody. It's your man Cam. I just wanted to get on here and speak a little bit. You know, I've made a few videos that I haven't posted, but if anybody who's watching my videos, don't hesitate to like and subscribe to my videos, man. Share my videos. I know my channel isn't flashy or anything like that, but it's not about that. It's about getting information out to the people. And, you know, I don't have all the technology at my disposal either to be able to post a lot of the clips and videos along with what I'm telling you guys so that you guys can actually have the other side of the proof. You get what I'm saying of what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is factual and it is the truth. But, you know, I just highly recommend for you guys to just go and Google these things for yourself and see what I'm telling you for yourself as well, as far as through the mass media or what have you. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on here though and talk to you guys, because my question is, in which I've been saying it, y'all, is Donald Trump going to lead this country into World War III? And not just this country, but many other countries as well, because that seems like what he's attempting to do. It's as if he wants for this to happen. You understand? It seems as if he's intentionally destroying the country, ruining all of the people who live here lives. And it's as if he doesn't care. He's throwing parties and selling handbags for $400,000, just nonsense, to where people like you and I could literally live off of $400,000 for several years, and he's selling handbags while he's on vacation or throwing a function in order to promote these handbags for $470,000 or $430,000, whatever it is. They're 400 grand for a darn handbag, y'all. But this is what the leader of this country is doing right now, while we're all out here wondering what's going to happen to our lives in the near future. You know, if you got a 401k or anything like that, I guarantee you that your 401k has lost thousands of dollars because of the stock market crashing. He literally, in the beginning, was saying how the stock market, how he was the reason why the stock market was so high, and the stock market just proves how well the economy is doing. And now that the stock market is crashing right before our very eyes, he says that the stock market has nothing to do with the state of the economy of the United States. And I say these things because if you are a follower of this guy and believe anything that he says, just fact check this guy. One minute he's saying one thing, the next minute he's saying something completely different. And I just don't see for the life of you guys, how on earth can you continue to follow and believe in someone like that? Because like I said, he said that the stock market does determine how well the economy is doing. And he boasted and bragged about how the stock market was going up and all these other things in his first term as president. And now in his second term, as the stock market, like I say, is literally crashing, he's saying, oh, well, you can't look at the stock market. The stock market means nothing. Since when does the stock market doesn't mean anything to the economy? Literally, if in 1929, when the stock market crashed, that was the beginning of the Great Depression. And a lot of people suffered during those times. Job loss, couldn't feed the family, people committing all kinds of crimes. And it started with the stock market crashing, y'all. So don't let this guy tell you one thing and then tell you something else, and y'all continue to believe in everything that he says. It just doesn't make sense logically for anybody to continue to follow along with someone like that. But as well, like I was speaking about, the war that he's leading us into, he sits here and says how he wants Canada to be the 51st state. The Canadians and the Canadian government has clearly stated and said that that's not going to happen, and that they're willing, willing to go to any extent that they have to go to in order to prove to this guy that this is not going to happen. And it's not clicking in his head, y'all. He's so hung up on trying to become a communist leader or a king that when people are telling him something, he just don't want to listen, and it just goes in one ear and out the other ear. And as well, like I said on previous recordings, that Canada is under the rule of England, New England. So you're not just only having to fight with Canada, you're now picking a fight with New England, which is, once again, not just Canada being our number one ally, New England is running a close second. But he's picking fights with all of the United Kingdom, all of these countries over on that side of the world. For what reason other than obviously trying to start some type of conflict, y'all? He also mentioned that how he wants Greenland to be annexed. And the leader of Greenland, and then Greenland is under the control of, I can't think of the country that it's under control of right now. Y'all can go fact check it and find it out. Denmark, I think it is. And they literally said that's not going to happen, and that they're ready to go to war. That literally, when you're trying to annex a country from another country, whatever it may be, then those are signs of physical war when it comes down to countries and things like that. That's just like somebody coming on your property, in a sense, and taking something that belongs to you. And you see that this person is doing it, and they're telling you that they're going to do it. And so with you knowing that they're trying to do something like that, you get on the defensive as well as offensive. You know, you ready to fight in the long run. And so that's what these countries are ready to do. Greenland, Denmark, like I said, he's got pretty much the entire UK, Canada. So he's creating all of these issues with these countries, and like I say, for what? He bad mouthed them, talking about how we don't need Canada. He bad mouthed Australia. I think it was. He bad mouthed just all these different countries that he's just talking negatively about. And like I said, the only reason why he would do something like that is in order to create conflict. He literally wants this country to be flipped upside down and turned inside out, to the point where, like I said, we're going to end up being like a third world country, to the point where you're going to have the ones that have everything, and then the rest of us are going to be at the bottom of the barrel fighting and robbing and stealing from them in order to survive. And I know that takes time to happen, but if a war pops off, it won't take that long for these things to come to light. But like I said, with the comments and the actions that he's taken, that's what he wants to do. And then you have China, who has literally added at least 10% more finances towards their War Department. Because I spoke on that, a few recordings back, saying how China said it outright that they are ready to fight any kind of war that this country is prepared to fight. And so this leader of this country is putting all of the military personnel lives on the line over what and for what. Because we had not had any major issues for the most part with any of these countries that he's creating conflict with. Russia, we've never been on good terms for the most part with Russia. As far as I know, it's always been some type of tension between the United States and Russia. You get what I'm saying? But I'd rather it be with, I don't want any tension with any country, but I'd rather it be with Russia and opposed to being with China and all of our allies, to the point where we don't have anybody that's willing to go to bat for us anymore, because this guy has destroyed all of the relationships that we've built with these countries. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather fight with 1 or 2 countries and opposed to 10 countries. But he's not doing the math, and he's not coming up with any real reason on why this makes sense. because it doesn't. Everything that he says makes no sense at all. The reason why Canada should become the 51st state, according to this leader of this country, is because there was an imaginary line drawn between the United States and Canada, and it looks like it was drawn with a ruler, and that if you combine the two countries, it's a beautiful sight on the map. What does that have to do with anything as far as creating conflict with another country just because it looks beautiful on a map when you combine the two? So my point is, he speaks and he says things that are so shallow. It doesn't have any real depth to it and any real meaning to it. It's just shallow things that he says. And because this country and the people of this country and all across the world in certain senses have become so lightheaded, so to speak. You know how the airhead mentality, because of, and I don't want to blame social media, but you see it to where you got these people doing stupid stuff on social media just to get views, you know. But it's like you can tell somebody something shallow and they think that you just said something that Einstein would have solved an equation of or something like that. But it's shallow. But that's where we're at right now in this country and across a lot of other countries, you know. But like I say, man, this guy's creating so much conflict that is downright ridiculous. And even if we are able to get Russia on our side to fight with us, we still are going to suffer so much loss of life that he's talking about how the Ukrainian war was something that should not ever happen. He's so focused on what should not have happened over in Ukraine, which has happened, and it's been ongoing for 4 or 5 years now at this point, and he's focusing on, well, it should not have happened. Well, if it should not have happened, what you're doing now to the country that you're supposed to be the leader of should not be happening, but you're doing it. You see what I'm saying? The guy is so contradictory about how he goes about doing things, and it's ridiculous. And he has all these little robots around him that have been inserted with a computer chip to the point where they're quick to respond to whatever the media or somebody is saying to them. But when you listen to their response, it's such an egotistical, non-educational or non-educated response that they give, to the point where you don't even want to listen to them, even though you want to hear what the media is asking and try to get a direct answer from them. But they run around the bush so much to the point where it makes you dizzy, and you just stop wanting to listen to anything that anybody that represents this guy in his presidency. You just want to turn the television off because they don't get to a point. Everything is just beaten around the bush. Do you understand? And like I said, man, it's sad, but I guess we had to come to this point. You know, this country, they literally did it to themselves. They could not see a black woman in office. And when I say that, I mean both terms, being black and also as well as being a woman in office leading this country, because they thought that type of image would make this country appear to be weak, and other countries would try and take advantage of us. But according to this leader that's in the White House right now, that's all that these other countries have been doing for decades, is taking advantage of the United States. And so he's literally isolating this country because he feels like we've been taken advantage of by all the other countries. So we're going to become isolated to the point where we will not have any resources, and we will not be able to survive and continue to live a normal life like we have been for the most part for years on end. But like I say, Russia and the one to partner with Russia, anybody that's around my age, I would say 43, maybe even 40 and up, maybe slightly younger, I don't know if y'all recall, but when we were in, as far as my age group, when we were in kindergarten, first grade, I think all the way up to the second or third grade, we used to have drills at school. You remember you had the drill for the tornadoes, you had the drill for the earthquake. But there was a third drill that we did up until like I said, the second or third grade that a lot of people have forgotten about because we only did it for a couple of years or so. But we had to get underneath our desk. And the reason why we were having to do that, because at the time we were at war, we were going through the final stages of the Cold War with Russia. And that drill was put into place for us as school-aged children in order to prevent any type of fallout from a nuclear war, from nuclear bombs being fired at us. So we were at that close, I should say, to an all-out nuclear war with Russia. And this wasn't that long ago, y'all. I mean, when you really think about it. You know, yeah, it was almost 40 years ago or 35 years ago, but it's still not that long ago when you put things into perspective. And now we have this guy in office who is now trying to partner with someone and with a country that literally was trying to take us and who knows whoever else out if we had gotten to the point of nuclear war. But just recall, y'all, we used to get underneath our desk and we had to sit up underneath our desk. For about 2 or 3 years, we did that drill in school. And that's what that drill was for. Now, a lot of the people that are, 10 years, so many years younger than us, they're not going to remember that because at that point, the war had pretty much ended. You see what I'm saying? But it's crazy. And I'm not saying that you can't build a relationship or a partnership with a country or what have you that at one point in time you may have been at odds with. But we have to look at it from this perspective as well. The Vietnam War, yeah, it was fought a lot longer ago than that Cold War was. And yeah, we have, I guess, some type of friendly relationship with Vietnam that I don't know. But my point is that Vietnam is not considered one of the top countries either for us to be even, so my point is that you want to get close to this country that's like number 2 or number 3 in being a world leader with a dictator in office who cares less about anyone but himself and put our country and the people of this country at risk of all kinds of issues because of that. We have to make it make sense because Russia doesn't have enough resources for us to cut ties with all of the other countries that we have been in allegiance with, and that Russia will be able to supply and support us with all of our necessities by doing so. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The only reason, the only point I could see behind that is because Russia is a nuclear power. That's the only thing that they truly have going for themselves, is that they are a nuclear powerhouse. And we don't need their nuclear weapons. We don't want them shooting them at anybody, let alone at us. But at the same time, we don't need their nuclear weapons. We need all of these other resources that we have been getting from other countries. But now, because we have a dummy in office, he's cutting all of that short. And it's going to affect our wallets. You have these stupid people that speaks for him saying that these tariffs are not going to affect us. Or they beat around the bush where the tariffs aren't taxes. Well, yes, they are. You're taxing the other country. And by taxing them, they're going to pass at some point, those taxes are going to be passed down to the consumer, which is us, and we're going to be paying more. So it is a higher tax on the people, but they're saying it's not. And then because they're getting called out and the facts are facts, then they want to beat around and say, well, we have to go through a transition period. Yeah, we may have to go through a transition period, but for how long? Because majority of us, we do not have enough money, whether it's in savings or just working day to day, in order to be able to to maintain and sustain ourselves through a down period. You get what I'm saying? We don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't have millions of dollars to where we can just sit back and just wait for the transition period to work itself out. And then once everything is worked out and it's as beautiful as everybody in his cabinet claims that it's going to be, then we're going to reap the benefits. By the time that happens, y'all, a lot of us are either going to be dead, or we will have lost our families, or just a lot of stuff is going to happen in between that time, and they're telling us to be patient during the transition period. Are we not listening? Is his followers not listening and understanding that this transition period is going to put them in such a bad place that they may not even be able to bounce back from it, even if this economy does turn around? Because by the time this transition period ends, your 401k might be depleted. You might even have to go and tap into your 401k. So you aren't going to have that 401k like you would have had it in retirement, because you had to tap into it because you're losing money on the other side of the table. If you are into the stock market, you may have to take your money out and use that money in order to be able to maintain your day-to-day life. If you work for the government, a lot of the government positions are being cut, job cut after job cut after job cut, to where these government jobs in most cases pay better than working for a private company. But they want to privatize everything to where these private companies truly don't pay much or pay as much as the government does, and your benefits aren't as good. So even if you do get luck up and get a job through a private company that pays you better than what your job for the government paid you, you're still going to end up breaking even or coming out even less, because the insurance through private companies is a lot more expensive than what it is through the government as well. But none of these things are being put into the words or into his head so he can understand what he's doing to the people. Literally, they just sent out an email or whatever have you saying that now they're going to start cutting postal workers' jobs, to where the post office is already struggling. And then you want to go and cut more jobs, and then you want to try to privatize it, because that's what your boss, as far as the leader of this country, his boss is the guy that owns Tesla. His boss is telling him, well, private is the best way to do things. And we're not saying that this president hasn't been a businessman himself for years, but to think that private is better than government, they got it all twisted. But because a lot of us had come up in a time where we have seen a lot of inequality, you get what I'm saying? We have seen the young black men get killed by police officers. We were raised, a lot of us, in areas to where we were told that the police were bad. So that's what people, excuse me, y'all, but that's what people think when they hear government. As soon as they hear government involved, they think about police, in which not all police officers are bad people. You have bad people in every position. Look at the president of this country. Look at the vice president of this country. These are bad people who have gotten into positions of power. So it happens on all levels. We can't just make out one bad apple to make everybody else to be bad, because when I get a bad apple, you take the bad apple out and you throw it away. You find you a good one and you cut it up, or you eat the good apple. That's how that works. You don't throw the whole bag of apples out. I ain't ever seen nobody do that when you got one bad apple in a bunch. So that one bad apple ruins the whole bunch. That's just some type of statement that, once again, somebody made up, and people just run with it and think that that's truth and that that's a factual statement. But when you really think about it, when you find a bad something in your fruit, you take the bad one out and you eat the rest of it. 9 out of 10 people do that. So we need to wake up, y'all, and stop letting these fantasies that we have destroy our lives, because that's what's going on. These sarcastic statements that are being made, we run with them as if they're fact. The darn stupid president even said that when he was talking about ending this in one day and fixing this in one day, because he wasn't able to do so, because he thought as soon as he got voted in, the stock market was going to go through the roof, that everybody was just going to listen to what he said and do what he says he wants to do. And that's not what's happened. And so now and there's an interview out there, y'all. Go look it up, the way he said, oh, all of that was just me being sarcastic. So what else were you saying during your re-election bid that you was using sarcasm as a means of influencing people to follow you? Because the majority of the people voted Trump in not because they thought he was a good leader. They thought that he was going to fix the economy, in which, if we were really paying attention, the economy was not that bad. The economy, you're going to have ups and downs. The interest rates were starting to drop. Yeah, they went up, but they were starting to go back down. And if we would have continued along the path that we were already on, the interest rates would have continued more than likely to go down. But because we want to see some drastic change and stuff, we want a stock price to go from $1 to $2,000 in 1 hour. We have lost touch with reality. And we are running behind, once again, that fantasy world, y'all. And we're going to have to stop that. We have to. But y'all, it's just, like I said, man, we just in some turbulent times. You know, once again, it's going to be a lot of us that are going to be on the losing end of this guy's presidency and the actions that he's putting into place. Like I say, he's not fixing the economy by firing thousands of people, y'all. Not just firing 100, 200, not even just 1,000. This guy is literally trying to fire hundreds of thousands of people. Y'all, put that into perspective. 100,000 people he is literally trying to fire from government jobs, meaning that's going to put more people on welfare. That's going to put more people out there that's having to get checks from the government, unemployment. That's going to put more people out there that's having to work lesser paying jobs, meaning that they're not going to be able to pay their bills, meaning that they're going to lose everything that they did work hard for. Because you have a president in office that says that he's going to fix the government waste in this country to where he is a waste. If we look at his past, and not just 10 years ago, not just 5 years ago, we can probably look back 6 months ago at his spending habits that he spends his personal money on. And I know it's his personal money, but my point is, you want to eliminate wasteful spending in the government. But how much wasteful spending have you done, Mr. President, in the past 5 to 6 months? He probably has spent millions of dollars on things that they didn't need. For example, they probably got millions of dollars worth of clothes and shoes, jewelry, and all this other stuff that literally, not saying that he'd have to do this, but literally the money that he's probably spent in 5 or 6 months more than likely could have helped out 100 families. Got 100 families out of whatever financial problems that they were in. And I know it's his personal money, so he can do what he wants to with it. But the point that I'm trying to make is, y'all talking about eliminating government waste. But what are you, Mr. President, and your boss, Mr. Tesla, are spending y'all's billions of personal dollars on? On what? Let's be honest. I guarantee you they spending millions of dollars a month, y'all. Millions of dollars a month. To where people like you and I have to work a lifetime to be able to possibly see $1 million or $2 million in our entire lifetime. And these guys are spending that type of money in a matter of a month. But yet the government is full of wasteful spending. They found a lot of holes in the government. You got people that, as far as Mr. Tesla, got teenagers or people that are in their early 20s going through the paperwork and finding the issues with the wasteful spending. Yet they have no type of background or no type of training on exactly what they're looking at. Yeah, you can see something and see that somebody spent, let's say, $100,000 on something. But when it comes down to the government, yeah, they spent $100,000 on X, Y, and Z project. But what does that project entail? That project may entail getting aid to people that's in need, getting health care to people that are in need. But yet in their minds, it's wasteful spending because they have been billionaires pretty much majority of their life. So it's wasteful spending to them. But yet you riding around in $100,000 cars. Yet you walking around with shoes that cost more than my car note is per month. Yet you got a suit on that literally probably could have paid a couple of my bills off for a couple of months or so. And your suit that you paid for that you may only wear one time. Come on, y'all. Who's truly wastefully spending? Man, we got to wake up. But like I said, this guy and his people are so full of it, and they're leading us down the path of destruction, and they use all these big, colorful words when they're describing things, yet they're not making anything positive happen. You can use positive words all you want, but there's no positive actions behind those positive words that they're using. It's all negative stuff that's coming out. And it's not because I dislike the guy. If this country wasn't going down the road that it's going down, if the economy was doing great, if the stock was up, if we weren't being threatened on all sides by possible war, I wouldn't be making these videos about this guy unless he did something else stupid. So it's not like I have a dislike for him. It's just that I just knew he wasn't the guy and isn't the guy for the job. He's not built to do that. But like I said, when you got a supremacist, this country has a supremacist mindset, point blank, period. If you are not white, and it's sad, but if you're not white, then you are looked down upon. You are looked at as less of a person if you're not white by the white people. And you have some black and Hispanic. Hispanics are like that too, though. Hispanics, a lot of them think that they're better than the brown than us. Right along with the white people. You got the whites, then you got the Hispanics, and then you got us. It's how they put it on the scale. That's how they measure us, y'all. But yet you see the Hispanics, they're suffering. The whites, they're suffering. So everybody is suffering together in this, though. To the point where we got to let go of a mentality of being better than somebody. And we've all been there. I've been there in my lifetime. As a child, I might have thought I was better than somebody at doing something or faster. I run faster than you until somebody else comes along and outruns me. And now I'm upset because now I'm no longer the fastest person. But that's when you're a child. When you have a child mentality, it's a little different. But as adults, you got to know that there's somebody out there that's going to be faster than you. There's somebody out there that's stronger than you. We just have to live with the facts and love ourselves for who we are. And that'll make everything else better, because once you love yourself, you are able to love people around you and the things that are around you. But we are far away from that. You know, like I said, it's so many times where you know that these people want to still use the N-word towards us, and we are no better towards one another as a people. And I'm speaking to my people. If I was white, I'd be speaking to the white people. And if I was Hispanic, the same difference. But I'm speaking to the brown, the black people, the Afro-Americans. You understand what I'm saying? Because we treat each other like trash, or we have treated each other like trash. You understand? We use the N-word towards one another all the time. And I'm not saying that the white people created that word either. That word could have been a word all this time. And it refers to being ignorant. You get what I'm saying? But we have to learn to start loving one another too as a people, y'all. You know, and I think that we are getting better at doing so. I think that we are coming together more and more now as a people as well, to the point where if they try to pull off any type of stunt, and when I say they, I mean whether it's the government, whether it's the white supremacists, whether it's the Hispanic supremacists, if they try to pull anything off, they're going to have a real fight on their hands. And a lot of people understand the facts. Yeah, you got some fighters in every race and every culture. But let's just take it to trained fighters, and let's take it to boxing. Let's take guns out of the equation. Let's take knives out of the equation. Let's take hand-to-hand combat. And the black community has had the most champions. We have the most champions when it comes down to that sport, when it comes down to boxing. We're not heavy into the UFC, but we have had a lot of champions in that too. I'm just making the point is that we are built like that. And I'm not saying that other races aren't, because you've had a lot of great Hispanic champions. You've had a lot of white champions, but none like the blacks. You understand what I'm saying? None like us. But it's time to wake up, y'all. It's time to wake up and know that we got to stand up for what we believe in. And it's not, once again, just a brown and black thing. We got to stand up together. White, black, Hispanics. If we believe in the same thing, we all have to stand together and we have to fight for the same thing. We can't let this president and his minions not only destroy this country, but destroy us. Because that's what they're doing, slowly destroying us. And they could care less, because they already well taken care of. Those people got enough money to where their family could live for hundreds of years. Majority of us don't have enough money to make it for a month if something happens. But hey, man, I love y'all. I'm going to jump up out of here. I don't want to be on here for too long, because like I say, majority of the time, all my people don't watch that much of my videos. But hey, I love y'all and I'm out of here.